Hi, I'm Yegi. I'm an entrepreneur and success coach who wants it all: family, luxury, career, and the freedom to do whatever I want whenever I want. And I'll do whatever it takes to get there. I created the Yegi Project to document my journey and inspire others to do the same. My mission is to change the world by influencing and leading others to do what they love and live fulfilled lives. Hello. Welcome back to the Yegi Project. Today we have Dennis, who is a dual licensed cosmetologist and esthetician and is now focusing on the eyelash industry. So I'm so excited to connect with him because we obviously have something in common, which is our passion for the beauty industry, and get to know him a little bit better and see what his experience has been in this business. Please, Dennis, tell us a little bit about you and how you got started.
Hello. Well, first, again, thank you for having me on. I know we've been trying to coordinate this for a while. So my name is Dennis, like you just said. I am a lash artist based out of Long Island, New York. I actually did not originally want to be a lash artist, but that's a whole story. But I've been doing this now for about
Tell us, how did it start?
so actually I originally wanted to be a hairdresser, and I had like these goals of being like fabulous like hair colorist, some world renowned hair colorist, but I realized color is not my thing. It's really hard. And hair in general is just like a really like difficult world to like I guess make it in. You have to like really like uh put a lot of effort into that. And I kind of just fell into lashing because I honestly needed a job, and there was a franchise that was hiring near me, and I applied and I fell in love, and I've been doing it ever since. Now I've been on my own for the past 3 years. So
Congratulations on that.
thank
So,
you.
how long have you been doing it?
I've been doing lashes for 7 years.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And what made you want to get your dual license, cosmetology and esthetician? Because, cosmetology does cover the esthetician
Yeah.
aspect of it, but what made you want to be extra eager to do both?
That actually is why. Is I was honestly I'm kind of a little bit of like a nerd a little bit when it comes to like when I get obsessed on something, I want to learn like everything about it. So I started off in cosmetology, and truthfully I had no interest in skincare or anything else. But one of the sister schools that actually does the aesthetics program of the school that I went to, they had one of their instructors come in, they did a demo, and I was like, this looks really cool. And I wanted to learn more about it. So, I don't know the curriculum in other states, but in New York, like the cosmetology covers aesthetics, but it doesn't actually cover like aesthetics really.
Not
Like,
too much details,
yeah, it just
yeah.
glosses over it. So I wanted to learn more. So I don't know, once I finished cosmetology, even though I still wanted to do hair, I decided I was like, why not? I might as well just go for the other one. And
Good for you. Knowledge is power,
yeah,
you never know what you can use. All
absolutely.
right, awesome. So for our audience to get to know you a little bit better, I love doing icebreaker questions. If you want to skip one of them, you can. But my first question is, what is a fun memory you have as a child that just comes to your head?
A fun memory as a child. Wow,
You
it's
can take your time
way
to think
back.
about it.
Honestly, I had a lot of good memories as a child. Honestly, like um, if I had to think of one, I just I don't know.
Favorite
My
toy? Something that stood out? Favorite place? Dessert?
favorite toy, I really like playing with dolls.
Oh.
So I would like always play with my sister's dolls whenever I could, like in secret. But those are like my favorite toys. Um, you know, Started to be my hairdresser, I
I
guess.
would steal my brother's cars.
So opposite, yeah, no, but honestly, I had a pretty like, I mean, for what it's worth, I had a pretty happy childhood. So I mean, a lot of them are good memories. I honestly, one of my fondest memories is just when I used to live like in an apartment building, and like all the kids in the building would just play together outside. Like we would all just be friends like the entire building, and it was just like
Yes,
cool
yes.
and fun. And
Yes, actually, I have those memories too. I grew up with like few of my best friends until today from my initial apartment
oh,
building. So
really?
those are good memories.
Yeah,
I think
no, we
any
would
kid
wreak
that can
havoc.
grow up with, yeah, just be outside all day,
Yep,
be with your friends instead
I
of
love
being
it.
stuck at home.
Yeah, it's great.
Awesome, awesome. All right, so another thing. So, what is the craziest thing that is on your bucket list that you would want to try? Or is there something crazy that you've already done that you want to share with us?
Bucket list. I mean, it's not like the most craziest thing, but for me, the craziest thing that I am going to try eventually is skydiving. Like,
Okay.
totally, I want to jump out of a plane and just feel that weightlessness. I'm scared out of my mind to do it, but that's one thing that I always told myself. Like, at some point in my life, I will jump
You
out of.
want to like challenge yourself to get over that fear and do
Yeah,
it?
absolutely.
Awesome. I've actually done it and it's
Did you?
great.
Is it like scary? Like, do you like have to hold yourself before jumping? Like,
Honestly, I didn't think twice. I just jumped. Like you just have to go for it. If you hesitate, I feel like there's a chance that you might not want to do it. So I didn't think about it. I just walked up, didn't look down, and I just jumped, and it was great.
oh my
But
god.
I love adrenaline. I love thrills. So I wasn't scared going into it. I was excited.
Oh my god. I
But it
kudos
was
to you.
great. It was great. I felt like I could fly, and it was great.
I know.
Nothing
I
scary.
want. I want to feel that. So
Yeah,
one day I'll conquer that fear.
yeah, yes. Do it. I think as I'm getting older, I'm getting more fearful of things. I think
Yes.
that's normal. So
Yes.
do it as soon as you can, or else I feel like it gets scarier and scarier as we think about it more as we get
I
older.
know. I'm scared of everything now. I'm just like, oh my god. I,
Okay, so what is one thing that most people don't know about you?
um, honestly,
You did say you're open book, but what's one thing?
I don't know. I mean, I kind of am pretty open about sharing. I mean, there's really nothing like super crazy that like nobody would know. Um, I don't really have like a super juicy answer for that. Like, you know?
It's okay, we can skip it.
Yeah,
It's good. You're an open book. So whoever wants to know more, they can go on
absolutely.
your social media and get to know you more.
Please, follow me.
So what is one thing, if you could, with the magic wand, and don't overthink it,
Yeah.
the first thing that comes to your mind, with the magic wand, what's one thing that you would change in the world?
One thing that I would change in the world is I would just go back to people just having fun with things. I think people take things too seriously these days, and I
Yeah.
wish people would just have fun and just enjoy life.
I know. I really wish that too. That was the point of this podcast too. I just want to see how we can inspire more people to live happier and better lives.
Yeah.
Actually, like children. Like we need to live more like children
More
and just
childlike
be
mentality.
excited about everything. Yes. Awesome. I love that answer. All right. So getting back to something a little bit more serious. So what is the biggest challenge in your life or in your career that you had to face and overcome in order to be here today?
Honestly, just for me personally, I mean, it's not like the biggest challenge, I guess, in the grand scheme of things, but personally for me was just paying my way through school because
Yeah, that's huge.
yeah, it's huge. I mean, because I pretty much had to do it on my own. Like, my parents, of course, supported me, but they weren't in the financial position to like really help me. It was a whole long thing that happened. But basically, I had no intentions of actually going to school originally. I got fired from a job that I thought I'd be at forever. So I was kind of just working as a server, bartender, making a little money, and I had to figure it out. I was like, I'm gonna go to school for something even if it kills me, even if I have to live off of ramen noodles for the next year to pay for it, I'm gonna pay for it. That was honestly the hardest part, and then from there, it was just putting in the effort of finding a job and getting good at the skill and building a clientele. But the hardest part was just getting through school and paying for it.
Getting through it. How was there something in your life that just kind of made it clear to you, okay, I got to do something different. I got to go for it, for the at least go start the process of schooling for something that I want to do.
Yeah, it was actually getting fired because I
Blessing in
oh
disguise.
my god, so it was such a blessing because honestly, in the moment, I really thought like my life was like over. I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do because honestly, like I feel like most people, like I had no clue what I really wanted to do out of high school. I tried college. I'm not a book person. I'm very smart, but like I'm not like a bookwork person. So college was for
Yeah, it's
me.
not for everyone.
Yeah, and so I actually ended up working for a company and I was there for a while. I was moving up, and for what it's worth, for somebody with no college experience, I was getting paid really well. and there was a lot of room for growth, but I made one little slip up that they couldn't look past, I guess, and they let me go. So it was all I knew, and I was like, well, I don't want to get stuck in this again. And I knew in the back of my
Mm-hmm.
mind I always wanted to go to school for hair. Like that's the one thing I did always want to do, but for like a bunch of reasons I never pursued it. Mostly like it was really more like I guess in like my culture, like being like in the beauty industry is seen more as like a feminine thing. Even though like I'm
Mm-hmm.
gay and everything like that, like I was still at the time when I was coming out of high school, I was still in the closet, whatever. Not to get all personal, but I didn't pursue it for that reason,
Oh,
you
it's a
know.
huge challenge that a lot of people face. So
Yeah,
props to you for, getting through all of that. Like it's huge.
yeah. So I mean, once I was at that age, like I was 27 when I got fired from that job, and I was like, you know what, I'm in an age, I'm already out. People know, like I don't really care what people think anymore. So I'm just gonna go to school for something
Yeah.
I want, and that's really what pushed me is getting fired
Yeah,
from
and you
that
have
job.
to get over those limiting beliefs and that barrier of what people think or what's gonna happen, in your family or culture, then just do what you want, right?
Like, yeah, I kind of hit that wall, and I was
That's
like, I'm going for it.
That's awesome. All right, so here's another question it's a deep question, but again, try not to overthink
Okay.
it. So some people sometimes have thought about this and some people never thought about it before. So you can take a moment to think if you like. But what does a happy and fulfilling life look for you these days?
Happy and
Like if you were absolutely to be happy and fulfilled in your life, what would that look like?
honestly, I gotta say, I don't think anyone has ever like truly reached complete happiness, but like honestly, I feel like for me personally, it's just being able to wake up and just do something that like makes me happy. Like what I do now makes me happy. Like I go to a job that I truly enjoy, that I do on my own terms. It's like just being able to live life on my terms, not on somebody else's, to me is like what would I guess I would consider being like a happy, fulfilled life. Just because going through like that whole rat race of working for somebody else and always being on someone else's schedules, it gets really like I get bummed out, So I gotta
Yeah,
say,
you
I mean,
have to enjoy what you're
yeah,
doing.
I think now I'm living that now, you know.
Yay! Awesome, awesome. I think that's super important because we spend so much of our time in our work or in our job. We have to enjoy
Yeah,
it. If we
absolutely.
don't enjoy it, ultimately it just drains us and it does lead to unhappiness. So I think more people need to pay attention to what they like. If it's working for someone else or working for yourself or whatnot, whatever is right for you, but at least doing the day to day work that you actually enjoy. You don't wake up and go, oh, I have to go to
Yeah,
work.
that's when it's time to change.
That's the worst.
That's when it's time to change.
Yes, that's a big indicator. If you
Mhm.
guys are waking up, to our listeners out there, and you're like, oh, I have to go to work, that's a big indicator that you may want to consider figuring out what you actually like and trying different
Yeah,
jobs.
so
All right. So one other question about a little bit general
yeah.
before we get into the specifics of the career. So if somebody were to follow you around for a day, like a day in your life, what would your typical day look like?
So a day of my life, honestly, is again. I wish I had something super juicy for this, but it's pretty just straightforward. I get up. I try to stay as active as I can, especially like on my days off. So usually, if I'm off, I will be like out. I go for like runs. I go for a lot of walks with my dog. I love shopping, so I'll go shopping. Pretty straightforward. But for the day to day, normal day is I come to work. I go to the gym, and then I am bad habit, but I like to go out to restaurants a lot. So I go out to dinner. So I'll usually go out
It's a
for dinner.
guilty pleasure.
Yeah, yeah. So that's pretty much it. I mean, like I said, nothing super juicy, but go to work, go to the gym, and then go reward myself.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. You have to find the stuff that makes you happy. And if that's what's making you happy, just your regular day, you get to do what you love, you get to shop, you get to eat great food. Hey, that's a great life to
I love
me.
it.
You get to work out, so that's great.
I love it.
All right, so a little bit more serious question. So you did say initially it was kind of hard for you to get into the beauty industry because you're a male. How was your experience, or how is your experience still today, being in a female dominant industry, especially with the lashing? Most lash artists are women. What has that been like for you, that experience?
So I'm gonna be honest. For me, for the most part, it's actually been really smooth. Like I have not had any like super
Oh,
major
good.
issues. I will say in the beginning, I did have a little bit of concern, just not to get like super like serious and everything, but just because of the world we live in, and a lot of lash artists do work like solo. Being a male working in a private room with another female, like I just always had that weird like, I hope she doesn't blame me for anything. You know, that's just something that always ran through my mind, just
Yeah.
because I've seen stories, you know, all over the place of like somebody being accused of whatever, and I was always like, well, I don't want to be that person, like, you know. But
Yeah.
other than that, I'm kind of grateful, to be honest, that I am a male, because I kind of use it to my advantage, because I feel like when you're one of a few in anything, you kind of are like special in a sense. So for
Yeah, you
me,
stand out.
yeah, so you stand out. That's the word I was looking for. You stand out a little bit. So for me, like when I started in the lash industry, I worked for a franchise, and I was literally the only male in the studio. So everyone was like, "Ooh, a guy! Like, let me try him." So
Yeah.
that actually it worked in my favor actually. So I got booked pretty quickly
Good.
because I was like the token male, and so I'm
And you
grateful.
had no problem with the clients trusting you or anything with their lashes.
No, and actually, a client actually told me, because I had this discussion one time with a client. I don't know why, but she actually told me, she's like, honestly, being a gay male benefits me, because I can give, and this is not my words, so if somebody disagrees, I'm sorry. She said, because we can give the opinion, like I forgot how she said it, but basically, like we can give them the
The
validation,
male
male
perspective.
perspective, without that like expectation of anything in return from a male.
Okay.
So I was
Yeah.
like, oh, okay. Thank you.
I'll
So
take it. Yeah, add it to your resume of how you're special and how you stand out as a male lash
yeah,
artist.
absolutely. So I use that to my advantage. So hey, if you got it, flaunt it.
Yes. Okay. So for any men who want to get into the lashing industry or the beauty industry, because I know there are a lot, and some people hesitate or have fears and blockages. What advice would you give them from your experience?
Honestly, just don't worry. Don't worry about people's opinions. Like, just do it, because of the fact that there aren't that many of us right now in the industry. I feel like it's an advantage. So go for it. Like, there's nothing. Even
Yeah.
if straight, gay, doesn't matter. Just go for it. I mean,
Yeah. It'll be fine.
yeah, just go for it. That's like the
Awesome.
biggest advice, is just do it.
Yes, just do it. Just go for it and see what happens. If you
Yeah,
hate it, you absolutely can stop. But more likely, once you take the leap, you're going to love it if it's something you
yeah.
want to do. All right, so let's talk about social media. In the beauty industry and in a lot of industries nowadays, social media is really important to get your name out there, to connect to your audience, and really just be part of the community you're in. For your case, it'd be the Lash community.
Yeah.
What has your experience been like being popular on social media or getting your feet wet in social media?
So it's been overwhelming, to say the least,
Yeah.
because it's not something that I ever imagined would happen. But honestly, I feel like the opportunities that it has given me are well worth the I guess not, I don't want to say anxiety and like stress it gives me, but like, you know, that I do get some times where like I
But we
have
can be real. We can be real. It can give anxiety and
yeah,
stress because we do feel like it is a big part of the world today, and we do put in a lot of importance to it sometimes. Sometimes we overthink about it. So it can give anxiety and stress, and that's totally normal. Like, we want
yeah,
people to know that,
like that.
but we just need to find a way to maneuver it that works for us,
And that's
right?
something that
So.
I've been learning a lot of, is in the beginning I was like, oh my God, like I don't know what to do with all this attention. Like I don't know how to like turn it into anything really. Um, but like I said,
So what platforms are you more popular on? Tell our listeners so they can kind of know where you're coming from. How long did it take you to get there?
okay. I'm more popular on Instagram. I am trying on TikTok, but TikTok is really brutal. TikTok is so brutal. It's so hard to get followers. I don't know why, but I'm mostly popular on Instagram, and it was kind of like by mistake, honestly. But
Not mistake, happy coincidence.
Happy coincidence. Yeah, it was a happy coincidence. Honestly, it was just a matter of I was just posting honestly just for fun, just for like no real intention behind it. I was just posting. I was like, "Oh, I want to have fun with this." And little by little I started getting more and more attention and I started paying attention to it and it took me about like a solid like year before I got really any traction, before I got like into the thousands of followers. And then it's actually only like in the middle of last year where I like well, no, the beginning, yeah, the beginning of this year actually, where I finally hit like the big numbers, and it keeps growing. So
Awesome. And what was the hardest point to get to in the beginning, or was that never really your goal initially,
it wasn't my
as
goal.
far as followers?
Yeah, originally it wasn't my goal. Like I said, I had no real intention in the beginning of being really anything on social media. I was just going to be another person who just posts reels that maybe gets a couple likes from their friends and but once I started seeing like the impact that like the post had on certain people, like once I started getting those like DMs of like, oh my god, like you've inspired me, or those kind of messages, that's when I was like, okay, like my content means something. Like I know it sounds so
And this is
cheesy,
fun,
but
yeah.
it means something. So I was okay, like let me see how else I can help. And then I really started thinking like I personally started using it as an outlet to like express like anything, just because like I said, we are by ourselves, so we don't have like coworkers to like vent to and stuff like that. So I used it as an outlet to vent, and I realized that other people kind of resonated with the content. It made them feel less alone. So I kind of got joy out of that, that I'm helping somebody by
Yeah,
making them laugh and like relate to them. So I just kept
I
going with
love that.
that.
So, what are some of your main goals now for your social media platforms? I know you mentioned you want to get popular on TikTok as well,
Yeah.
but what are some of your main goals for social media?
Well, I mean, the whole TikTok thing, it's not necessarily that I want to get popular just for the sake of being popular. I do want to help. Like, the goal with my content now is to really just kind of, like I said, it just inspire and educate other lash artists as best I can through like a free platform like Instagram, TikTok. Obviously, I do educate on the side here and there as well, but like, if I can help inspire somebody who might be like on the verge of like, giving up their career in lashing, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe something that they didn't know because they don't have like a mentor or a coach or anybody to look to, like they can just see like, okay, somebody else thinks like me, okay, somebody else goes through what I go through. And that's kind of like the point of my content, is just to kind of make you laugh while telling you like it's okay, like you're not alone.
Yeah, I love that, and I think people can really use that, and I think that's your secret ingredient that's helping people connect, because we all feel like we need that connection, that support,
Mhm.
that kind of like reassurance that we're not alone,
Yeah,
in whatever we're going through. So I love that. I think it's very, very awesome what you're doing to inspire people in your
thank
community.
you. I'm a pretty open book. Like I'm not scared to like share like the real life events that happened. Like I I think people can learn from like others' mistakes. I feel like if you try to be too perfect and only put out the good, it doesn't really do anyone like a service. I feel like, because then people, I feel like that's really what hurts people's self esteem and stuff. It's like, oh my god, why can't I be as perfect as this person? Like I think when you see somebody who's just like you, who makes mistakes like you, who has like I don't want to say failures, they're more lessons learned. Um,
Yeah.
that it's more relatable. You're like, okay, like it's okay if I try something and it doesn't work out. Like it's okay. So
Mhm. So, what is one mistake that you've made that you learned from, or one lesson that you learned from in your journey as a lash artist, or just in your journey in life?
so this is actually recent. It's actually kind of like literally like this month. I posted a training that I wanted to do. Not to get into the whole details of it, but like my sister owns a salon in Florida, and I was gonna host a training there. And honestly, I think I should have done a little more research on what people wanted to learn and how to actually market a training. And I just posted it, and when I tell you nobody booked, nobody booked. Because I was like, okay, well, people know me, people like me, and maybe they'll just book because they like me. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, it takes a little more than just popularity, like to sell something. So I learned a lot from that. Honestly, I'm not afraid to share the fact that like nobody booked that training. Like I don't really care.
Yeah, we all go through it.
Yeah, so
You just had that's the first step to put yourself out there
mhm,
and learn from that initial booking or initial, not booking people. You're like,
right.
okay, so I need to do something more. What else can
Yeah,
I
I
try?
learned that basically like it's a lot different than like doing a what's it called, like an offsite training is a lot different than just hosting trainings in your own space. So it's like okay, this it's different. So I learned from that a lot. It was a little bit of an ego. It was a little bit hit to the ego. I'm not gonna lie, but I was like, all right, it's fine.
Yeah, honestly, I've done a lot of training in a lot of different places, and some places would only be like 2 or 3 students. Some
Hmm.
places wouldn't even get any students, and I would need to cancel or reschedule. Like, it's normal, it happens, and sometimes it's the marketing, sometimes it's the timing, sometimes it's the economy,
Yeah.
sometimes it's just what we put out there. But we definitely, I think, from my experience too, what I've learned from too is you have to just put yourself out there and you have to
Hmm.
keep trying. So maybe that date didn't work. You can try a date again, maybe give yourself a little bit more time to market it, give
Yep.
people more time to like save money for it so they can sign up for it. All
But
that,
yeah,
all that stuff.
yep. And the reason why I share that, like I said, is because I feel like a lot of people want to try whatever it is. They want to try something, but they're scared. Like, well, what if I fail? And it's like it's all right. Like if it doesn't work out, like it doesn't mean that it's not for you. It means it wasn't for you right then and there. Like you can
Yeah, and if
learn
you
and try
don't
again.
try at all, you already failed. If
Right.
you don't try, you're not going to get the students or for this specific example anyway. So might as well put it out there. Nobody signs
Exactly.
up, nobody signs up. You don't have to go out there. You don't have to
Exactly.
do it.
That's right.
Awesome. All right, so we'll do a few closing questions. So, if you could do your whole journey with your work and then career and then to the lash artist world, was there anything different you would do, or what did you learn from that you can advise our listeners?
I would listen to my gut a little bit sooner. I don't want to say it's like a regret of mine, but it's definitely a lesson learned. Is that I kind of stayed somewhere a little bit longer than I really had to out of just honestly comfort, security, But I'm grateful also that I did because of the craziness that happened in the world a couple years ago with the pandemic and everything.
Yes.
But I definitely would learn to trust my instinct a little bit more because ever since being on my own, I've kind of really dived into listening to like my instinct a little bit more, and everything has been working out so well. And I feel like if I had just done that from the beginning, I just imagine where I would be now. And it's like it's okay, it's fine. But like I would,
Yeah, so that's the advice. Listen to your gut feeling, listen to
yeah,
your instinct.
yep.
Well, before I let you go, where can people find you and how can they connect with you if you want to share your platforms? And we'll link everything below as well.
So they can find me on pretty much any social as Denny Diva. Mostly on Instagram. That's kind of where I spend most of my time. But if you're a TikToker, follow me there too. It's Denny Diva. Same thing. I post basically the same stuff on both platforms. Yeah, those two platforms.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So before we close, can we did kind of give your words of wisdom, but is there any last words of wisdom you want to share with our listeners before we let you go?
Don't listen to the haters. Like because there's gonna be a lot of that. There's gonna be a lot of people that are gonna give you like, oh, the what if you fails, and like those are not the words you need to listen to. Just listen to yourself. If you want to do something, go for it. And if it's not doesn't work out in that moment, it doesn't mean it's not for you. It just means it was not meant for you today. But there's always tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah, don't listen to the people if they're not saying anything nice and it's not benefiting you in any way, do not listen to people.
Yeah,
I think that was a lesson I've learned too. I love that.
yeah.
Well, awesome, Dennis. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for being on the Yegi Project. We look forward to seeing you around
Thanks.
and until next time.
Thank you for having me. Bye.
Thank you for listening. Please rate and review this podcast. Follow and engage with us on social media under the Yegi Project. And if you're interested in being a guest, email info@theyegiproject.com. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes.